All right, so I was going to put a bug in this car here, but I realized, hey, it has a bug in it. So last time we used it for electrical troubleshooting, which we went through fuses, lights, how to use the meter, things like that. There was one bug they never could get fixed, and that was the left-hand marker lights, I believe. So we'll verify the problem and all of that other good stuff. Because that's the lab we were using this car on, I have a vague suspicion really where the problem might be, just because where would kids touch in the amount of time they were given. I'm not going to let that necessarily steer my diagnosis, but I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. So again, this is a 2001 Hyundai, I think that's how you say it, Tiburon with the big fire-breathing 2.0. It's not that fast. Let's take a look at the problem. All right, so what did we just do? We did a quick inspection on the car. We noticed a couple things aren't working. We noticed the brake lights work, so that's probably telling us the ground in this circuit, or grounds in this circuit, are probably good. We noticed a light out in the back, and we noticed a light out in the front. And it could possibly be two bad bulbs, but I'm going to tell you I did not put two bad bulbs in this car, but it's worth checking. We'll check that here. That's a good idea. We noticed the blinkers work, and in the front it's sharing the same socket and probably the same ground. We'll look that up probably in a wire diagram and figure out what the deal is with that. So we verified our problem, and let's go ahead and begin with the diagnosis. So the first thing we're going to do for the diagnosis is figure out what to check. So what's in front of you here is a diagram. It's an electrical diagram from Hyundai, and that's our service manual. So if I take a look up here, I can actually see at the very top we have a fusible link, and that this entire circuit is controlled here by more than likely the PCM, or the engine computer, or the body control module. Looks like daytime running is down here a little bit. But if I follow the circuit, I already know that this is working, because if I read down here in the circuit a little further, I have my right hand lamp and my left hand lamp feeding off of this relay. So what I know already is that everything in red is considered good. I have power flow where I've traced the red. So it starts at the fusible link, which is kind of probably buried somewhere, probably at the battery. And it looks like I get to two fuses. So my left looks like it's on a fuse, and my right. So I think the next thing to do, that's pretty easy, is to check the fuse. On your diagram, it's going to tell you, oops, this is engine compartment relay fuse box. Okay, so we're at the fuse box. Some illumination on that. I'm going to go ahead and use this test light. Zoom this out where you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and clip on battery ground. I could go directly to the battery as well if I want, but whatever works. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to find this fuse. Get the wire out of your way. Looks like this cover. T-lamp left hand. So it actually looks like it's this guy here. You can see that's good, and that's good. The right hand is here. This is RH. it's good. I'm gonna turn the circuit off. I'm gonna pull out the right hand. What I'm trying to do here is just check and see if that's the only fuse that runs all this stuff. Turn the lights on again. And I got nothing on that side. So that fuse here definitely controls everything. All right, back to the diagram. So what we know so far is this side's okay. This side of the circuit here, because the right hand works just fine. It's the left, we are now here, that we know is okay because we've got power on both sides of the fuse. The circuit is indeed turning on. So, I think, looking at this diagram, the next easiest spot, because it's a pretty simple circuit, you can actually see my electricity is going to go straight through the body of the car, through, let's see here, one connector to this MRO1. I don't know if you guys can see that, it's way on the bottom there, okay? There's a second connector, and then it looks like a third connector. So it looks like we go through 3 connectors as we get to the tail light. Okay, so we're back here in the luggage compartment, and I believe we are looking for a pink wire. All right. Okay. Well, there's a pink that then, not mentioned on our diagram, conveniently, oh, that feeds the license plate lamps too. We better check those. I've only got one license plate lamp. Okay, glad I checked that. So, this is definitely gonna be more than likely a circuit related issue going on here. So, I'm gonna take our little bulb that we made, and it looks like, well, more than likely this black is our ground. So I'm just gonna back probe, and pink, yeah, there's black for ground. That's nice. Okay, the diagram ain't real helpful, and I got nothing. Okay, absolutely nothing. Whatsoever. I'm gonna pull this connector apart. Okay, and I'm gonna go just gentle, just touching the front. Oh, that slides in way easy. And I got nothing with a different light. So I'm gonna turn the blinker on real quick just to check our equipment. Okay, blinker is a blinking. We'll find it in here. Okay, so that confirms my ground. I'm just gonna check my ground in here. I'm gonna back probe. It's just so much easier showing you guys on the camera. Back probe my ground. Which one was that? Is it this little gray one over here? Yep. Okay, so I know my ground is good because my ground is clearly carrying current. So the issue in this circuit, it's more than likely because it's only got one ground point, is going to be on the power side. So checking my pink wire. Again. Here's my ground. There's my pink, and this is the harness coming out of the body of the car. So that's telling me a couple of things. It's not a bad bulb, folks. Sorry, it's also not a bad ground, folks. Okay, quick recap on what we know. Thing we know, number one, the fuse is good. It's the first thing a lot of people check. Actually labeled in this case. How thoughtful. Thing number two, we know there is no power at the light bulb in the back. We also know the license plate doesn't work. The front marker doesn't work. That should be a clue. And the back marker doesn't work. So let's go. Oh, and we check the ground. We know the ground for this circuit for the taillight is good. I'm assuming there's probably another ground for the front, because why would they run an extra wire the whole length of the car? So let's look at the diagram again and see what else we can figure out. All right, so we know the back of the circuit, this ground is good. We have no power between here and there. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at the diagram there. So what we know is, because my front left does not function, and my rear, which was cake to inspect, which is why I went for it first, because the front left is, it's really buried. No. I think we can avoid this connector, this connector, this connector. I am thinking my issue, well, more than likely is in that spot, because the front left does not function and I have no power to the back of the car. So if this splice is bad, I'm going to have to look up and see where that is. I think if we check power at the bulb, it could have a bad bulb. I'm going to see how hard it is to dig the connector out versus finding that splice, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I may have just gotten lucky, because this bulb is super easy, it so appears, to take out, and it probably got messed with. So we got 3 pins and a ground. Sweet. Let's just take that out so we can look at it. Okay, I turned the blinkers on, flashers, whatever. Just took the test light. That's good. Okay, so that is our blinker. Arc lights are on. So our green is the blinker. Here's our pink wire again. And I got no juice on that. Nothing. I'm not jamming the test light in the connector either. I'm just touching it. Okay, our ground is probably good if I go to battery positive. That lights up. I don't know if you can see that. Everything's good on the ground side. It does support a load. So I got 2 good grounds and no juice. Okay, so how about that splice? Okay, so I just spent like the last 10 minutes in all day to see if it would give me a location of that splice. It doesn't. But it's got to be between the fuse box and the front light, which means I gotta take the battery out, take the fuse box out, maybe it splits right underneath the fuse box. It's worth checking. I got another idea. We have fused jumper leads. So what I'm thinking, I thought of this while I was getting mad looking on the computer. If, hypothetical situation here, because I got 3 things, a license plate, a tail light, and a front marker that are not working, if I jumper positive that's missing directly from the battery into that pink wire that we just looked at, theoretically, if the splice is good, instead of having to cut the wire harness open, if the splice is good, then it should all illuminate. That rules out any issue with the wiring inside the car, under the carpet. That means I probably don't have to tear the wire harness apart. That means the splice is good, so more than likely at that point, we got a broken wire between the splice and the fuse box, or the fuse box has a bad connector in it. And most of these got a plug on the bottom of the fuse box, and this is a Wisconsin salt rust crusty car, so our problem may be there. So far, I've got about 20-25 minutes-ish, I think, into this car. Typical shop's going to charge you 1 hour on the electrical diagnostic, so we got plenty of time to use our newfound tools. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to check our test equipment. This is knowing good. And that is knowing good. What we're going to do is take this guy. We've got a 5 amp in there. And we are going to clip him on the battery positive since this is a power fed circuit. Hope the clip holds. And we're going to attach that end, and we're going to make sure our fuse is good. And it clearly is. You can hopefully see the power coming out of the positive, going through my light, and has a fuse installed. So, next thing, just disconnect that real quick, that I am going to do is figure out on our pink wire, is it easy to front probe? Maybe. Ooh, you know what? Actually, it's really easy to front probe. Okay. How easy is it? I think we'll back probe this one. Probably stay in a little better. Get you a better view. Alright, so there's my pink. And we are gonna go in. Okay, feels like a good back probe. Just let that chill. We will hook up test light. Okay. All right. So the light is illuminated at this point. That is telling me power is flowing through this circuit because it's got to get ground through that taillights over there. Let's go look at the taillight. All right, you guys watch the taillight. You know, it's probably not working because this isn't plugged in. Okay. Oh, it's working. Okay, so here's what we know. What I did is I think I found the problem now. There's only one other place. Is I back probed our test light we made earlier into the pink wire, okay? And I left it sticking out a little bit. I then took our fused test lead that we assembled today and I attached it to the pin. So I'm simply using our little light as a back probe because I'm too cheap to buy back probes. Then I reach, and hopefully you guys can see that, when I touch this to the battery, you can even see on my shirt, it's powering up that little, I don't want to call it a fog light, but whatever that is, everything's powering up. So that's telling me that three-way splice is good. That's telling me that the wiring up to this connector is good. Our 5 amp fuse didn't blow, nothing's getting hot, nothing's smoking, anything like that. So I think our problem is in the fuse box. We're going to go ahead and, where's the bulb? We're going to go ahead and plug this in because we know the problem's not here. Because this is all working. So it's kind of cheesy. Oh, somebody broke the, okay. Well, it's cheesy now. It wasn't cheesy when it was built, but somebody broke the tab. Wasn't me. Can you guys see? I'm gonna make sure you guys can see. Yeah. All right. Okay. So our problem is in about an area that's about this big. So I think the next thing, because we confirmed it's working back there, you saw it, I saw it, didn't have it plugged in. Helps. Well, there's one of your problems. That's the problem we made though. We fed power in the lights up here, everything's good. The fuse is good, so I don't think power is making it through this fuse box here. So let's go ahead and take that out. That looks pretty tight. I think I'm going to take this air box out. I'm going to get some tools. So I think we're definitely going to find the problem at the fuse box, or probably within like 1 foot of it. Air intake temperature sensor, probably, yep, wiggles out, that's good. Okay. And that goes over there, air filter, that's cute. Left loosey. Leave the bolts in there. Sweet. Oh man. I just dropped the bolt. Let me find it. Oh. How's that little trick? Okay, so this looks like it's been out before. Not by me. Somebody's been here before. That always makes this way more interesting. Didn't break it. Didn't break it. Didn't break it. Oh, didn't break it. Nope, didn't break it. Didn't break it. Z. And didn't break it. Okay. Plastic gets so brittle on the older cars. And there's one more little dong still holding it on there. Didn't break that yet. Here we go. And, oh, didn't break it. Okay. Oh, baby. Okay, all right. Make sure you guys can see. Oh. Oh. Wow. There's your problem, lady. Bring you in where you all can see this. Okay, so you're looking at the underside of the fuse box here. And right here is our suspect fuse, which is not on because I turned the ignition off. Okay, because if you look, one of these relays actually turns this circuit on. But get you guys in a different position here. What I have just found, blow your mind. Okay, if you can tell, lurking in the fuse box right here is Mr. Pushed Through Pink. So I look on the fuse box, the little tab that holds him in is broken and he's pulled out. Actually, I can pull him out about all the way. So he's supposed to be inside in these little retainer things here. Somebody must have jammed a fuse in this or something. I'm going to turn the circuit on. Okay, so I got a power feed. I'll hook up my test light. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right here I got power feed. Okay, that's the other side of the fuse is here. No power. Okay, if I push it in, oh, hey, everything just started working. So I think what happened is when the fuse got replaced, either the retainer clip got broken or they jammed the fuse in this thing way too flippin' hard. So I'm gonna figure out what I want to do here to fix this. Right, so here is double confirmation of our problem. I don't know if you guys could see that that little guy over here is way deep down inside. So the fuse is getting power. Power is coming across the fuse. Power is never making it to the pink wire. I just see that now that I pulled the fuse out. It feels good. It fits in there good. If I turn the circuit back on, both ends would check. That's 100% confirmation in our diagnosis here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use my test light. Push him back up there. Can. Oh, sounds like I heard a click. I heard a click. Okay, all right. Turn this circuit back on. Circuit on. Battery discharging. Oh, it's working. Okay. Everything is working. Can I pull that fuse out and put it back in? I can. If you twist it a little bit, though, it seems like. Okay. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dab of glue on the bottom of that. Hold it in there. Okay. I don't think I'm going to glue the fuse into this or anything. The lock on it is working. I just need that extra little bit of tension to keep it from coming out. So given the age of this car and the condition that it's in, it's totaled, it's been hit on the side. Instead of going to a salvage yard or whatever, trying to find this car a new fuse box, if it was, I'll just smash that in. If it was a little bit newer, a lot newer, and wasn't a complete toilet rust bucket, it needs a fuse box, or at least these little locks that hold things in. So I think that's a good repair. It's something a customer would be happy with. They're not spending a ton of money, and I think we can put this car back together now. All right, just 100% confirmation on our fix here. The car's all back together. If I pull that fuse out and put it back in, the glue has not even set up yet. You can see everything works. So, all right, so there you have it. Left-hand marker lights on your 2001 Hyundai Tiburon. So in this case, it was a pretty simple repair. Kind of tough to find. It's not a place that I was immediately going to suspect that, but didn't really cost the customer any more than I got about 5 minutes, and I'll have an hour into this diagnosis. So that included front and the back and taking the fuse box, all that stuff out. So we'll get this video wrapped up, and hopefully you learned something about it. Hopefully you saw why we built our tools that we did. We happen to use them today. Just be careful. Those needles are sharp. Don't ask me, I just found out. Anyway, so if you liked what we did here today and you want to see more diagnostic troubleshooting videos, be sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment in the box below, and we'll see you next time.